Hello, and thanks for joining us. My name's Noah Rosenfarb, and I've got my partner Robert Hetzler with us today. We're excited to talk to you about making more money and helping more families by growing your CDFA practice. Wanted to share with you what my intention is for today's webinar. The first is to talk about what's going on for CDFAs, the feedback both from myself and my practice and from what I hear from others of what's working and what isn't working. The second is to tell you about what Robert and I have created called the Divorce Law Institute, where we're training CDFAs on how to expand their practice. And then, of course, I'd like to invite you to join the Divorce Law Institute, and I'll tell you what that might mean for you. So just a little bit about me to get started. You could see that I've got after my name a few letters. I'm a CPA by training. The ABEV means that I'm accredited in business valuation, and I'm also a personal financial specialist, and obviously I'm a CDFA as well. What most of you might want to know is that the first 4 years that I was a CDFA, I aggregated $100 million in assets from affluent divorced women as clients. Since then, I've continued on in that business and also in some other areas of specialty, and I have $600 million in assets that I oversee now, 7 years later. I had served as an expert witness for the first 10 years of my career at a CPA firm, predominantly in the divorce space. And while I was at that firm, which was founded by my father, I helped grow that firm from $2.5 million and 12 people when I joined to $15 million and 70 people when I left 9 years later. I left that business to do what I'm doing now, which is run a multifamily office where we serve as personal CFOs to affluent families in transition. And my own personal book of business has evolved where I've doing less and less divorce-related consulting work and focusing primarily on exit planning. I've recently written a book called Exit Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and I host a podcast. And I'm primarily working with successful business owners that are thinking about how they want to leave their business. But what I realized is that the help that we give at Freedom Divorce Advisors and the help that CDFAs want to provide to people going through divorce is really valuable. And unfortunately, a lot of the CDFAs I meet and speak with have not had the same kind of success that I've had. And I figured it's about time for me to kind of share how I've done it with the CDFAs around the country. And I wanted to share a bit about that with you today. My partner, Robert Hetzler, you'll see the doctor in front of his name. That's from his Juris Doctorate degree. We graduated law school. But Robert also has a bunch of other designations, perhaps the most important of which is his CPA license. And after Robert graduated from law school, he ended up becoming actively involved in the divorce space, doing mediation, valuation, forensic accounting, and also creating a quadro business. And we'll talk about that today. Back in 2008, when Robert was looking to grow his quadro practice, he started doing a bunch of SEO and website advertising, Google ads, and pay-per-click related advertising. And what he realized when he built a successful team that had helped him do this is that he'd rather own the company than pay somebody. And so he does own an SEO and website company called Rise My Site, and he's really figured out how to leverage technology and the internet to create a very robust practice. He's now been in the quadro business for 11 years, and that practice is incredibly successful. He's doing up to 200 quadros a month, and we'll share with you how you might be able to participate in that success as well. So the things I've heard most from CDFAs and also from the family lawyers that I speak with is that they don't really understand the value proposition of a CDFA. And by that I mean the lawyers and both the litigants as well, they think they know this. The lawyers have been doing family law for however long they've been in practice and perhaps successfully without our help. And the litigants see their lawyers as the expert to rely on. This second bullet that I have here about wolves in sheep clothing, what I really mean is that a lot of lawyers tell me, Noah, this is just a gimmick. It's a way for brokers, salespeople, people that want to take advantage of this money in motion and, prey like vultures on my clients. And And I think in order for us to change that value proposition, change that perception, we've got to provide more value to the lawyers and the clients that we interact with. Another common challenge is that lawyers say that, if I bring you in, you're going to take work away from me. You're going to help them with things that otherwise I might be helping them with. And the last common challenge that I hear is that lawyers don't want to refer financial advisors sometimes in general. And when they do, they're typically only referring business to those people that refer business to them. And so they're looking for a quid pro quo relationship. And in order to build a successful CDFA practice, you have to attract referrals from lots of family lawyers, more so than you'd be able to refer in return. So I wanted to tell you how I dealt with those challenges in my own practice at Freedom Divorce Advisors, and hopefully you can see how these might apply to you in your practice or working with the Divorce Law Institute to help you implement some of these things. The first was creating a one-stop shop for family lawyers and affluent divorcing women. When I started in my first year, I just launched my wealth management business, Freedom Wealth Advisors, and was going out probably saying much of the same things that most CDFAs are saying. Hey, you have these people that are getting divorced and they need a financial advisor, they need some help. And I really wasn't getting the type of traction that I thought I could. And it wasn't until 2008 when a forensic accountant suggested to me, Noah, you should really do tax returns. And I kind of heard that. I spoke with some family lawyers, and they loved it. They ate it up. They said, Noah, I don't really want to refer a financial advisor, but I know my clients need a new accountant to prepare their tax returns. So we created Freedom Tax Advisors, and our success started accelerating. And then in 2010, we recognized that there was an opportunity to provide divorce financing. So we created Freedom Legal Finance, where we advance money to litigants going through divorce that don't have access to capital. And then Robert and I met after I'd been looking for a way to offer quadros to the family lawyers and my clients, and we created Freedom Quadro. And so through the course of time, I've been able to create this one-stop shop for family lawyers and their clients where they can come to us and we can provide them with a wide range of services, and the lawyer can pick what the entry point would be for the introduction. Combined with that, I've found that really having a high degree of integrity, honesty, and always putting the client first has been tremendously valuable. There's certainly times where there was an opportunity for me to make more money for myself personally, and perhaps it wasn't in the client's best interest, and so I really take my fiduciary responsibility seriously. And over time, because the family law community is pretty small, that word gets passed around. The other thing I noticed is that the lawyers that were most successful were the ones that would introduce me most often to clients. And that goes back to the fear, apprehension that some family lawyers have about us taking away fees from them or making sure that they're only in reciprocal referral relationships. Lawyers, at least in my market, that are originating $1 million or more in fees, don't have those same concerns. They've been successful in their practice. They have a broad book of business. The business comes in, and typically they have associates working for them. And they're not concerned about where the next case is coming from, whereas they are very concerned about ensuring they deliver a high degree of quality and service to their clients. So I've really focused on successful family lawyers as a way for me to create a steady flow of new clients. And then the other thing that I had to do was find ways to deliver value to these referral sources without me, reciprocating and introducing them to new clients. And I have had the good fortune of, meeting people that were starting a divorce process that needed a family lawyer referral, but certainly to a much lesser extent than the family lawyers that call me to introduce me to a new opportunity. So I've done that in a few ways in terms of helping lawyers. Sometimes it's been through recruiting. Other times it's been lawyers that have decided to open their own practice, and I've helped them with their own financial planning and business planning, explaining how did I create my business, how could they create theirs. But most often, and what I've found has been most valuable, is educating lawyers on tax and financial issues in divorce. At one point in my career, I created a six-part seminar series for young lawyers, for the associates of these, highly successful family lawyers, where I brought them in for a dinner once a month and trained them on different areas of accounting and financial and tax issues related to divorce. And they really appreciated the effort that I put in to helping their associates get better. So, the strategies that I've used, and I've talked about a few of them, is education-based marketing, creating content that's valuable to family lawyers that they may not be able to consume in other places, or certainly not for free, which is how often I do my educational training. The tax services that we brought in and being able to do projections for clients and tax preparation. Combined with that, I mentioned I started this Quadro practice through my relationship with Robert, which is called Freedom Quadro. That's been an overwhelming success in terms of getting new family lawyers to introduce me as someone to help divide a pension plan. But what it does is it gives me the opportunity for my partner John to make a phone call once a month. He goes through our list of everyone that's submitted a Quadro, and he calls the litigant that's going to receive money. And he says, "Hey, my name's John Cito. I'm calling from Freedom. I noticed you'll be getting some money from a Quadro. Do you need any help opening an account, or do you need any financial advice?" And we see that being a really effective way to create new opportunities without the family lawyer having to make a one-on-one introduction for that service. I'll talk a little bit about the process that we've created at Freedom Divorce Advisors, which is really well defined, starting with how we introduce our service to a family lawyer, how we introduce our service to a litigant, the questions that we ask when we initially meet with a prospective client, and laying it out for both the client, the lawyer, and ourselves as to what our expectations would be at each stage along the way. And the last piece that I would say has been really effective for me is becoming an integrated part of the family law community. So we oftentimes sponsor events that are family law section related for bar associations. We are speakers at the bar association events. We participate in the events that they host. In New Jersey, they have a retreat once a year where people go on vacation together. And so going on vacation with this group is another way to inure yourself and become part of the community. And people see the dedication that we've provided, the integrity that we have, and our willingness to be committed to helping them succeed. Robert's take on growing his practice was substantially different. While I was kind of glad-handing it with family lawyers, Robert was using the internet, and so he's shared all of his tips and tricks in an internet marketing handbook for financial advisors, which we have available. It's a 40-page guide, and if you'd like a copy and you're listening to this, you just send us an email. Again, we'll show it at the end, noah@freedomadv.com. And just ask me for a copy of this ebook, and we'll be happy to share it with you. We talk about a lot of different ways that CDFAs can market their practice, not just on the internet, but also utilizing technology to manage your time effectively. So Robert and I figured out we should create this Divorce Law Institute together this past summer in 2013. We had been collaborating for about a year and a half. Originally, Robert interviewed me when he was flying around the country to tape recordings of different people involved in helping families through divorce. So parent alienation experts and parenting coordinators and medical doctors and forensic accountants and tax experts and business appraisers and financial advisors. And so Robert found me doing a search online and flew to meet me and interview me, and we got to talking, and that's how we started the shared Quadro business. But what we found out is that, when we started sitting down, is we've spent over $150,000 together on sales and marketing in creating content that we have, and we realized that we can leverage that content not just in our own individual practices, but by sharing it with CDFAs around the country and training them how to use that content for their own benefit. So we realize there's a lot of passionate CDFAs out there, many of whom have had personal experience dealing with divorce, either themselves, a loved one, or a family member, and they realize that helping people through this process creates a lot of value. And people that don't have access to financial expertise during divorce unfortunately make a handful of common mistakes that are really costly. The other thing we saw is that a lot of these people that are CDFAs are not achieving their full potential. And what we realized is that if they had access to everything that we've created, including our experience and our intellect and our expertise, maybe they can achieve more. And combined with that, one of the things I've noticed is that newly minted CDFAs go out into their local market and they expect the phone to ring and they expect to originate new business. And when they don't achieve a level of success that they had hoped for when they initially set out to get their CDFA certificate, they leave the business, and it's causing a bit of harm in the family law community because they see these CDFAs as almost a fly by night. People come, they're looking around, they're shopping for business, and then they leave quickly. And so the next person in the door, they have a sense of distrust as to whether or not they're really here to stay. And so we think members of the Divorce Law Institute are making a commitment to really expand their practice, to stay committed to this niche, and we think what we have to offer will be really helpful. And of course, we've created this to make more money and help more families, not just my family and Robert's family, but the families of all of our members, and also all of those families that we'll touch by helping them through the divorce process. It's something that we both kind of share a passion for since we've been in this market so long and realize there's a lot of help that's needed. So what we're doing at the Divorce Law Institute is we're training people in 3 core areas. The first is on the technical side by providing them basic and advanced tax and financial training. The CDFA, obviously requires a certain number of hours and a certain amount of skill to receive that credential. But for a lot of practitioners, their only exposure to issues becomes, on-the-job training. And so what we're hoping to do is provide you with additional resources to learn more as you go and develop your practice. Equally important or more important could be the marketing help. So on the marketing side, we have a tremendous volume of resources that we've created, and all of our members get access to those resources as raw digital files. So they could take anything that we've created, put their own name on it, put their own brand on it, and use it in their local market. And I think what we see is a lot of overlap between the technical training that we might do on one of our calls and then on the marketing side. So as an example, the first class we'll be teaching is on quadros and the 12 most common quadro mistakes. You might learn a lot of new things about the quadro preparation and process when you take that training. But then what our goal is for you to take that into the market and do that course yourself. You'll have a recording of that class that we teach. You can listen to it 2 or 3 times to feel confident that you can deliver the same content, and then host your own webinar or host your own seminar or host your own, lunch and learn at a family lawyer's office. If you're not comfortable with the speaking part, you're also going to get a really wonderful white paper that outlines all of these 12 common quadro mistakes that you could circulate. You can print them, with your logo and name and circulate them in the family law community. And we also have a best practice checklist that we developed, which is a real simple 1-page piece of paper that you can use. And then combined with that, it takes us into the third of the core areas where we're offering help at the Divorce Law Institute, which is access to new products. So you can create a Freedom Quadro like I did with your own name. If you're ABC Advisors, you can have ABC Quadro. Create your own website and start, selling quadros. Robert, at his core business, Quadro Now, would be on the back end doing the preparation work for you. The way it works is if you want to private label that business, you can charge whatever you'd like. You'll be paying Quadro Now $345 for their efforts to produce the Quadro, and you could charge whatever you see fit in your local market. The other alternative would be to simply refer the business to Quadro Now. your clients would pay $395 and you'd receive a $50 commission. Another product is, as I mentioned, at Freedom Tax Advisors, where we can prepare tax returns for your clients. So again, if you want to kind of private label that and have ABC Tax Prep, you're more than welcome to. Charge whatever you'd like. If not, you can refer the work to Freedom Tax Advisors. We'll prepare the return, and you'll get $100 every year that client has their return prepared by us. On the divorce financing side, we've got Freedom Legal Finance. That one's a little bit harder to private label because of a bunch of regulatory issues. So really, you'd be making a referral to Freedom Legal Finance, and you'd receive 1% of any of the advances that we make. Now, Robert and I have heard from some of our members about a few things they'd also like to see from us. We have the ability to create a pretty basic valuation for a company where it might be helpful in mediation, or it might be helpful in just discussions between parties that are getting divorced. Not something that would be used for an expert witness to testify to, but we could probably produce that valuation report at about $1,200, and accountants are typically charging $2,500 to $3,500 for something similar. So as the members, as you give us feedback as to what you'd like to see, we'll be able to create a resource to pool the CDFAs around the country and create opportunities to provide more products to your clients. We host 4 monthly phone calls. They take place at 3 p.m. Eastern every Monday. The 4 calls are broken out. The first is, as I mentioned, refers to marketing, where we are training all of our members on different marketing techniques and strategies. I believe we've got a call coming up December 6th, where we'll be speaking about SEO and Google AdWords. So Robert will be leading that class and sharing with you what his most effective ways to advertise have been. On the technical side, our first class, as I mentioned, is the Quadro training. We also are putting about 7 members from around the country in non-competing, geographic markets into study groups, and you'll be having a call once a month with your study group. Every study group includes a CPA that's focused on the tax perspective of divorce, so you have an additional expert that you could rely on within your study group. The study group calls are meant to help hold each other accountable for your commitments, not only to the Divorce Law Institute and the type of work that we're giving you and hoping that you bring out to your market, but also any other issues you might be having in your practice. It'll be nice to have a team of people that are going through the same experience, where you can share your own case studies, stories, challenges, or opportunities and successes. And the last call is an open mic call, where we'll be having members submit questions during the week, and we'll pick a few of those questions to highlight on our Monday open mic call, where Robert and I will share our experience, whether it's related to a case study or a marketing issue, a technical issue, and then we'll open the lines up so other people from other study groups might be able to share their experience as well. I talked before about the content that Robert and I have created, and just a kind of a snapshot. I had created a brochure in 2008 once I started that tax component, and I spent over $20,000 working with a branding and marketing firm to really clearly define the message that we wanted to communicate to the family lawyers and clients about how we intend to help them. And that brochure has been used to close over $1 million in business. As I mentioned, it did cost a ton of money to get it created. And when you become a member, you'll get access to the digital files, and you can, edit that brochure as you see fit to use in your practice. The same is true around the technical articles that I've written, the seminars that both we provide to you and you can use in your own local market, as well as a bunch of ebooks that we've created, not just the Quadro ebook that I mentioned, but how to save $5,000 in divorce costs, or the 8 most common tax issues in divorce. We've got a bunch of ebooks and resources that are valuable. Our inaugural class schedule is here on the screen. If you missed our Ideal Work Week, the first class that we had, feel free to email me for a recording. I'd be happy to share that class with you, where we help you with goal setting for 2014, identifying what your priorities are and how you'd like to spend an ideal work week. You'll also see some of the upcoming courses here. If you'd like a copy of this class schedule, feel free to email me and ask for a copy. I'll be happy to share it with you. So membership costs at the Divorce Law Institute are $417 a month, and we require a 12-month commitment. You are entitled to exclusivity by county, which is based on your primary office location. So if you're located in Smithfield, which is in Johns County, feel free to you won't have anyone else in Johns County competing with you in the sense of having access to the same materials. But if the next county over is Alexandra County, you could certainly mark it there, and there may also be a CDFA in that county that has the same content. But we are providing exclusivity by county. If you're interested in finding out if we already have a member in your county, again, just send me an email. I mentioned a little bit about what the returns could be to you, not just in growing your own practice, but also in the receipt of commissions or referral fees from our businesses. And our goal is that by the end of 2 years, everyone should have, on a recurring basis, kind of commissions and the referral fees that exceed their member dues. The catch here is that you can only use the material while you're a member. Obviously, if you're no longer a member, we're going to want to find someone else in your county to take that opportunity and use our materials in your area. At the end of the 2 years, where we'll pretty much go through 80% of the content that we have already, you'll receive a certificate of completion for the advanced tax and financial training at the Divorce Law Institute. That'll be suitable to frame on your wall, and it'll also be something that you could include in your resume or CV. For this inaugural class, I mentioned it's inaugural because this is new for Robert and I. We're recruiting for our first class, which, as you see, started on November 22nd, and the real class schedule starts January 20th. So you have to complete our member agreement and credit card authorization form before December 5th, and then you can join us for our December 6th class, and we won't charge you anything until March 1st. So I hope that some of this has been interesting to you. If you have questions and you're listening to this as a recording, feel free to email us. For those of you that are listening live, you can type in the chat box, and after we end the recording, we'll answer your questions. I'd love it if you connected with us on LinkedIn. You can join the Divorce Law Institute group. You can find me, Noah Rosenfarb, or Robert Hetzler, and invite us to connect with you on LinkedIn so you can stay informed of what we're doing. You feel free to ask for your marketing handbook and join us for the class on November 22nd if you're available. If not, ask us for a replay link. And invest in yourself, whether it's with us at the Divorce Law Institute or in your own personal development and professional development. Invest in this practice. There are people that do need your help, and it's a matter of communicating the value you can provide. One of the ways to do that would be to join with us, and we'll show you how we've done it successfully. But obviously the other options are to figure it out on your own. So we hope you'll join us. If you have questions or comments, you can reach us at the contact information below. It's noah@freedomadv.com for me, at 855-540-0400, extension 101. And I look forward to hearing from you and hearing about your success in growing your CDFA practice and helping more families and making more money. So thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to stop our recording and